Welcome to MMO Grinder Backtrack, where I take a look at games I've reviewed previously to check out what's new. Today in November of 2013, I'll be revisiting Pangya, the fantasy golf game I featured in episode 2. Wow, 2, really? For some inexplicable reason, Pangya remains one of the most difficult games to record and nigh impossible to stream, as the hack guard is absurdly draconian, and conflicts or overrides so much software it's a pain just to get the footage. Okay, now onto the actual changes. Revealed shortly after the release of Nell was Wiz City, a very unorthodox course taking place inside of a magical city, which acts a bit like a combination of regular golf and mini-golf, as the surfaces are often very flat and the ball will roll constantly. There's a ton of odd mechanics, and the playfield is littered with items. I'll get into that aspect in a bit. Wiz City isn't listed as a challenging course, but it is absurdly tricky if you're used to playing on more traditional courses. And when you're playing a game where traditional courses includes an active naval armada of battleships, that's saying something. It's a very bouncy and colorful course, and it is fun for a change of pace in all of Pangya's regards. For a while after the input of the Wiz City course, I'd say there was very little in the way of updates until a new course was added into the game. Possibly taken as a challenge when somebody mentioned that Pangya will update again when hell freezes over, the first of the new courses is the appropriately oxymoronic Ice Inferno. Not entirely just an icy reskin of the former super hard course Deep Inferno, Ice Inferno's difficulty is toned down a little bit, ranking it at only 4 stars instead of Deep Inferno's 5. To be honest, I actually enjoy Ice Inferno far more than I do Deep Inferno, if only that the soundtrack isn't as depressing. But it does have one very cool track. Horrible pun, entirely unintentional. Last of the new courses, or at least the typical courses, is the recently as of this year's August, Abbott Mines. A semi-industrialized course filled with mountains and crystals, and also using some of the course's mining hardware to provide a decent challenge, but it's hardly tough. If anything, the many gadgets that lay around the course can give you the edge if you know how to use them. And with that mechanic, it's very similar to the Ice Spa and Ice Cannon courses. Aesthetically though, and in overall fun factor, it's my unquestionably favorite course of the 3. There's also a course that's not technically a course called Grand Zodiac, which is also known as Hole-in-One mode, and has an entirely different rule of play. I unfortunately do not have any footage of this course, as I wouldn't do all that well on it anyway, mostly because this is the closest I've ever come to a hole-in-one. And clearly this game hates me. Despite a ton of characters coming out since Season 3 introduced Kaz, Season 4 gave us Lucia, and later Nell, and then after a long period of no new characters, we were finally given Spica. Spica is a blonde girl from an alternate dimension, in case you needed a reminder on how needlessly goofy this game's story is. She's accompanied by her hover segway / portal core named Roy, who acts as her companion, caddy, and personal punching bag, and is usually featured in her opening shot and victory and defeat animations. Spica's highest stats lie in power and control, which is ironic considering her fairly violent temper. Spica is an ideal character for those looking for a more sporty-looking golfer, or at least someone looking for a little more A with their T. And yes, I turned her hair red, you should expect this by now. The game now features a slight revamping of the lobby and interface screen, one major addition being the daily quests, which give you a set of 3 quests which you can either complete once a day, save until they're all completed, or swap out for the next day's quests. Quests can range from the difficulty of simple, like play a match on a specific course, to are you freaking kidding me, like score a large number of albatrosses. For those wanting to just play the game single player, you no longer have to control several characters in the offline family mode, and can now choose the one-player practice mode option. In here you can choose to play a course of 9 or 18 holes with a time limit of your choosing. Choose to practice on a single hole in a single course, or practice the game's toughest and most lucrative shots, the chip-ins, but of course, that mode is restricted to players who possess chip-in tickets, which are sold in the cash shop. Bummer. Since the inclusion of this practice mode, I've noticed family mode is either now gone, or they at least hit it pretty well. As mentioned in the Wiz City course, it's possible to find coins and boxes on the course itself, and while Wiz City is rife with them and seemingly built around that mechanic, it's possible to see coins and packages on the regular courses too, but not quite as high of a number. The coins are often located in the most obvious shot path you could take on a course, but may also be set in more unorthodox shots and areas. In order to collect them, you must hit one of these coins, which are massive by the way, with your shot, and this can be trickier than it sounds. A very thankful addition to the game's interface is the addition of a small set of directions on how to perform the special Tomahawk, Cobra, and Spike shots when you switch to Power Shot mode. Now you won't have to memorize their inputs any longer. They're still pretty dodgy to input though. There's plenty more implemented in the game to celebrate the many years Pangya has been about, including celebrating characters' birthdays by offering bonuses and special items based on that specific character, and events are constantly going on in the game, as you can probably tell by the Halloween motif that's still present in the time of me recording this. Pangya remains one of my favorite games I keep forgetting to play, and it's still my go-to online golf game. I'll be sure to check back with this game and others in more episodes of MMO Grinder Backtrack. Oh yeah, they still haven't inputted the Expert Mode tutorial, and some of the coolest costume pieces are only granted randomly through gacha tickets and major grinding. Some things never change.